Well, everybody, welcome to the media show. I'm Nick Palavita. I'll be your host for today's show, and our topic will be Fox News settling for a record $787 million for allegedly saying things that they shouldn't, or basically defaming another company, Dominion. So with that, we're going to bring our guest on today's show. From the left coast, we have Rick Rosner. Rick,
Hey.
Welcome to the show. I'm sure you'll have some good comments relating to Fox. And also left is Jim Eade. He's left in San Francisco, but he hasn't left San Francisco yet. The president of Pod TV, Kim Calhoun, our illustrious person who's actually a media and journalism major. We have Mark Lee. And of course, up in the north end of the county, we have Sasha Starr from Canada. So we're going to start off with this big not a judgment, because they didn't go to court. They settled. They threw in the towel for $787 million. Does that send a message to us people on Pod TV that we have to tell the truth now? Kim has a comment, so we'll bring her in.
Well, wasn't this about the lies that they were spreading about the election who was running the elections?
You don't like to call it lies. You have to call it something else, like prior inconsistent statements. That's what lawyers use.
No, it wasn't inconsistent where they got their information misinformed. They literally made this up just so they could keep the stories going. So a lot of this was, So I was listening to this on the radio the other day on the car. So sometimes radio I have to pay more attention to because you don't get to see the faces. Hey, and I was like, oh my gosh, they literally just was throwing out there anything they wanted to keep the story going, that these people, the machines weren't right. They were the election data. None of it was true. None of it.
Yeah. They were afraid of losing their viewers. They thought their viewers would abandon them if they told them the truth. Their viewers, they thought, would mutiny and leave the channel.
And they were. They were afraid of that. The audience was dictating what they were saying. Rick is absolutely right on this.
Hey, Jim, and everybody, we have breaking news. We have breaking news about this and everything.
Tucker Carlson
is leaving Fox News. That is the breaking news.
Tucker Carlson's leaving Fox News?
That's the news of the day. Yeah.
That is, it says Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. We thank him for his service to the network as a host and prior to that as a contributor. That is the official statement from Fox News, and Carlson's last episode of Tucker Carlson Tonight was this past Friday. But they are.
You didn't even get a chance.
This is a fake news, please.
No, but he didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to his audience. So he's obviously.
I think he was kicked out because he was the only guy on Fox who basically came clean and admitted that we were just lying to you. I saw that, and I actually gave him some respect.
He told the truth, and he got fired.
Yeah, so in truth, I agree with what Jim said. In truth,
he's the fourth.
He got fired.
He's the fourth guy to leave since Maria Bartiromo gone, Judge Jeanine gone, Dan Bongino gone, all since the settlement. Because they have another lawsuit from Smartmatic for $2.7 billion that's yet to go to trial, and they might be trying to cover their butts a little bit against an even larger settlement.
Hey, I've got a very important question that I've got to ask Nick, and then I've got to ask Sasha, because I don't know the answer to either one of these questions, but I think I've just come up with a brilliant idea as the de facto director of programming, even though Kim says that I'm actually the director of programming and everything. That being said, I'm thinking we need to find out two things. One, is Tucker Carlson available for Pod TV? And two, whether Tucker Carlson plays chess. Because I think Tucker Carlson would be a great guest for the Chess Star show on Saturday if he plays chess. What do you think, Jim and Sasha? Should we get Tucker Carlson on the chess show?
He has to pay us to be on.
Yeah.
I like that
we
idea.
do have a price. If he needs it, we'll let him on.
But can come on. I must say something. You are looking at very superficial things, what are in the news and papers and everywhere. You're not looking deep enough what's actually happening right now. It's a decimation of all narrative of Republican Party. It's a decimation of the Trump paradigm. It's a complete decimation of this ecosphere headed by Murdoch. Okay, so he'll pay almost $1 billion here. He'll ended up paying $1.5 billion, if not two, to Smartmatic and so on. And it's just the beginning. There are several other lawsuits. So this is basically the end of Fox News, period, as an organization. And at least in that direction where they were trying to go, that's the end of it. At the end of its run. But the most important thing, nothing would work out, nothing would happen if it wouldn't be for Trump's election was stolen.
Yeah,
That
big lie.
idiotic narrative would not be invented by this complete piece of garbage. Then nothing would ever happen to Fox News, to the Dominion.
You got to tell us how you really feel. No, that you're absolutely right. It was the big lie. It was their ultimate downfall. The election was stolen, was a big lie, and they rallied around it. And Rick pointed out an essential point here was that there's other media that was producing the big lie and sticking to it, even though all the evidence was crashing around them saying that it was a lie. And the people that were telling these things about the Dominion voting machines were this and they were that, Rudy Giuliani and the lawyers that they found, I don't know where, but they were lying. And or they were telling things that were not true. Let's put it that way.
But wait a second, Jim. They were lying.
This other media was still reporting it, and they were losing an audience to them.
But
so they doubled down on it.
But you see, at the center of all it is
That's
Mr.
right.
Trump himself. So people don't understand what an evil Trump was for the United States of America. People must lock him for whatever time he's left to be around. I don't know, maybe he'll die soon. But maybe even if it's not so soon, he must be locked in. And so it will be an example for a future generation that it's simply impossible. You'll end up in jail and you'll spend your time in jail. And the Republican Party must change its name to something else, because now it's going to be decimated on any election everywhere. And all this narrative is a cornerstone.
But Sasha, he seems to be the foregone conclusion. He'll be the Republican primary.
Well, not only that, but
It doesn't matter.
Jim, but not only that, but part of what's going on is that some of that narrative we're talking about is actually getting a lot of support. I know that here in North Carolina, where I'm based at, and definitely Nick and Kim are here as well, we have a lovely person that is about to run for governor. And he is the current lieutenant governor, an African-American gentleman. But he's also the guy that said that has put out some statements that there needs to be no women in charge of anything, because he definitely thinks that everything should be led by men, and that is biblically based according to his philosophy. He's definitely said that. He said some other things about the LGBTIQI community and all of that kind of way. He's also said some things about even the Holocaust, because I think he's been a Holocaust denier and all in that space. And there is a strong possibility, because right now he's the front runner, that he could be the governor of the lovely state of North Carolina. And
it doesn't seem possible to me, Mark, but I believe you. It doesn't seem possible after all that's come out that the Republicans would actually nominate Trump. But it seems to be the case that they're probably going to do it. It's unbelievable to me. But, how can you tell these lies, be exposed, and still have support? I don't understand.
Between Fox News and gerrymandering, you had a safe ecosystem for all these kind of not very fit, kind of inferior political animals who were propped up. And with Fox News falling apart a little bit, maybe we will see, the Republicans have been pushing increasingly unpopular policies.
Yes, for a while.
And we'll see if demographics and public opinion finally catch up with them.
Well, once they got power, they did gerrymandered out of, both parties gerrymandered But recently, the Republican Party took it to a new level, and they locked in. They've carved out these maps that are so funny. They have these little counties that are joined across the line across the state and don't go down, and it's crazy gerrymandering. It doesn't make any sense.
Hey, Jim and Rick, have you ever heard this expression? And Sasha, I'm sure has heard of it as well, but it's an old expression that's been down there forever called singing to the choir. And that being said, I wonder, with there being so many avenues for the choirs to be heard. Yes, Fox is in deep trouble, and definitely Murdoch got millions, if not billions of dollars that he can continue to pour into that if he chooses to. But there are other conservative outlets. I mean, Rumble's out there, and there are a number of other ones that are out there that are existing. So if there are these echo chambers that exist, and you can preach to your choir all day long, then how are you not going to have that core base not being mobilized for you? Because I personally think that that's what happened with the January 6th attack. I think that there were folks that were preaching to their echo chamber and told them to go out in that area. And there have been other echo chambers that exist on both the right and the left, where folks are given marching orders, and they just follow the marching orders that they are told to go on.
What I'm really relieved, though, is you're absolutely right about that, Mark. And it seemed like I was getting very depressed, like there was no answer for that. But it seemed like the court systems have been the answer. The person who lied about the shootings in Connecticut that killed all those school children, he got slammed for huge monetary.
Alex Jones.
Yes,
Are you talking about the Alex Jones case?
And right, and also the what's just happened to Fox. It's turning out that to not tell the truth can be expensive. To have these echo chambers can be expensive. It can cost you. And once that gets into people's minds, then
what happens is that Alex Jones was like the beginning of the defamation, because defamation was a high bar at one time, Jim, that you have to prove actual malice. And they made it very difficult. So these defamation
the Times versus somebody case, I forget the
name. I mean, when I had clients come to me, I want to sue them for defamation, I kind of go, you're never going to go anywhere because the bar is so high to prove actual malice. Well, apparently the courts have changed on this a little bit. And so Alex Jones was the first one, Amber Heard, the second one. Now the third one is Fox. And now it's something, when I'm looking at from the Pod TV standpoint, we have to be careful on what we say on the air. Because if Fox got a pass on this one, then it's a free-for-all media. Make up the facts, make up what your opinions are. If you don't like the facts, change the facts. I mean, it's basically a free-for-all. Well, Fox did not get a pass. So unfortunately, we have to be careful, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it.
No, hold on a second. I want to make sure that I'm understanding. Hold on a second, Nick. I want to make sure that I'm understanding you correctly.
That's no fun.
Nick doesn't know this, but I'm going to reveal it right now. But I was planning to put out on the air later on that Jim Eade actually discovered the Loch Ness Monster, and that Sasha is really Sasquatch. So that whole Bigfoot kind of thing.
I thought he was Yeti.
So I'm getting to put this out, and you're telling me I can't do this now.
No, we have to be careful as a network.
Well, there's a difference between opinion and news, Nick.
Nick, I think the safest.
We have one news show. We have one news show that's on the morning. It's World Edition. So it's your problem, Mark. You and Steve Rao. That you can't go in there.
Nick, by far the safest show from that point of view is a chess show, because I can't imagine how we can be sued on chess show for defamation.
For defamation.
Zero chances.
Well, wait. Let's go to chess. You can get sued for defamation. Look at Magnus Carlsen. He got sued by Neiman for defamation. $100 million lawsuit. So chess players.
I was talking about our chess show.
Well, yeah. Here's how you can do it. I can show you how you can generate a lawsuit. Sasha on the chess show accuse somebody, let's say Ken Reagan for cheating. That would be a good one. So
That's a good one.
If you started saying Ken Reagan is really a cheater, his stuff is no good. He's there to conspire against other players.
He's
blah,
changed
blah, blah.
his rating system, so
He changed his rating system
who are guilty
to help out people. Then you can get sued now for defamation. It's a real problem on media right now.
In fact,
I'm sure
Nick, he's the only one who can provide evidence.
I know.
I know that, but I'm saying that defamation is a real thing out there now on the media, where Fox got a pass on that was not a real thing.
But it's clear when you're expressing your opinion. That's one thing. But
yeah.
when you're saying it's news and you're presenting it
News
as
and
fact,
it's a fact, right?
and
right.
then that's when you're at risk.
Yeah.
That's when you're in jeopardy.
But there's a fine line, Jim. Where is it opinion and when does it become fact?
Well,
In
when
other
I'm
words-
discussing the benefits of the Carol Khan versus the French defense, I'm not going to get
that's
sued.
yeah, because Carol Khan is dead, and so is the French.
Hey, the French defense was played in the latest World Championship.
But what I'm saying is that there is potential for something that we have to be concerned about is defaming other
Well, that's
people.
good, isn't it? Isn't that a good thing? I know it makes you uncomfortable, but it's
It
good
makes me
to
uncomfortable
pay
because
attention to what
they
they
sue
say.
the network. They sue the network. They're going like Pod
Well,
TV is guilty
let's-
because these guys are
Let's
defaming,
listen to the
let's say,
president of the
Nick
network.
Cage or whatever his name
Let's
is.
rewind just a little bit,
Defaming
Nick.
media.
You and I both know in America, whether somebody actually did do something to you or not, you can still file a lawsuit against them. Whether
Yeah,
you really did it or not, you can
true.
still
It's an
file that
allegation.
lawsuit,
Yeah.
and the burden of it is going on the
It's on the plaintiff, but obviously in the Fox case, the
So-
union had the goods on them in discovery because that's where the truth comes out.
Well,
What
they
I'm saying
exactly. Dominion did it, but unfortunately, it took 2 years. So a lot of people have forgotten about what really happened or
Right.
why they were. They still think that it was rigged and Dominion cheated and all of this. But what has happened should have happened, and Fox should be punished. They should have any
Well, they did
grant
get
money.
punished, $700 million.
No, it's
That's
not
not
false.
enough.
It's
No,
Donald
because
Trump.
they
He
cost more.
invented this bogus election was stolen theory.
Trump
And the
is
others
Teflon.
choose to, okay, if Trump says the
Trump is Teflon.
Stolen.
They cause
They're
more damages in the
Hey.
minds of people. They cause more damages in the minds of people than 700 million.
But isn't the question for this
so
show,
people have to
will
sue.
it change the
People
media?
have to sue, and especially Donald
I
Trump.
think I'm going to sue them too now. I think I'm going to sue Fox for misinforming me and causing me all kinds of problems with my family who
Right.
kept going, well, y'all cheated. I'm like, well, I'm not the y'all because I'm no labels. But, I think it caused a lot of problems. I think it caused
And-
divorces. I think it caused friends.
Right. Nick, it could be
Break
done
up.
as a class
Yeah, in
action
this
suit,
country.
so people
I
even
think
don't
they
have to
should
pay anything. Don't you think so?
Trump still
There you go.
has
Class
40
action suit. Nick, another class action suit. Let's get it going.
That's what this country needs.
Trump
to do.
still has 40% approval. So we'll have to wait a month or two to see if this erodes. His approval's been steady for the past 6 years at 40%.
Or it doesn't go under 35. I don't understand it. But
And we have an
All
interesting
this
case.
approval rating means that there are a lot of idiots in United States of America. There are
Thank
a
you.
lot. It's a
And
fact of medicine and science.
One
You
third
cannot
of
escape it.
1/3 of us, I think.
I don't know where they're getting the poll and stats from. Have any of y'all ever filled it out? I have. I've never
So-
done one.
Polling's
Ever.
a little bit of a mess now,
Yes.
where
Yeah, I mean, I never
conservative
get asked.
pollsters have been learning slowly over the past few elections that they can really kind of push in the direction they want things to go. You have to look at who owns a individual polling company.
Look at the Rasmussen polls. They're always right wing, and it's
Yeah,
it's
the
very
polls
true.
are definitely biased, depending on who's doing the polling. But the Supreme Court, by the way, and you're going to love this one, Jim, they got involved in the whole notion of social media and politics, because apparently earlier today, the Supreme Court has agreed to hear an appeal from 2 San Diego area school board members and decide whether public officials who take to social media, that would be like folks like definitely Leonardo, who's here in Durham, and even our mayor, I think, has been on social media, and I know that Steve has been on social media. Are they free to block their critics? So there's been another conversation. So apparently the lovely Supreme Court is going to get jumping in the
You're
conversation.
just dropping the bombs today, Mark. That's news breaking. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it says at issue is whether their Facebook or Twitter accounts are private and personal, or instead become public platforms when officials use them to speak about public business. So
Yeah.
former President Trump faced a
Well,
similar lawsuit.
these are the types of things. It was the Wild West, and now
Yes.
we're learning the rules. And
Yes.
and there's some gunfights at the OK Corral, and there's no question. This is a learning process, and we are going to change. But my question is, how is the media going to react to this? Like Nick pointed out, the trend. Defamation used to be impossible. Now it's a threat. Now people have to pay attention to what they say, which I think is a good thing because, spreading lies, spreading mistruths shouldn't be profitable. But it has been. And so I think that telling the truth needs to be rewarded. And when someone is telling the truth and is not hurting others, then people should be tuning in to those broadcasts rather than the ones that are trying to harm others and tear people down and spread misinformation. I don't understand what's going on, why it's more popular to take something and lie about their abilities, their accomplishments, and then get more viewers. It doesn't make sense to me. What kind of country are we living in?
I agree with Jim.
Just when I need
Your
I think
bandwidth
that
doesn't agree.
there should be an organization that holds me accountable causing such bad intentional disinformation across the board, and I think that they need to be shut down personally, because they broadcast based on the fact that they need to be telling the truth. Like when there's weather reports and you got to evacuate, who can believe them now? Heck, I if they told me to evacuate tomorrow, I would go, I don't know. Is it the truth, or are they trying to steal my house? Is
The
this
breakdown
a
of
Trump
trust
thing?
has really harmed our country. Our total breakdown
Right.
in trust. Congress, we don't trust the Congress. We don't
Harmed
trust the Supreme
individuals.
Court anymore. Who do we trust? And the whole COVID thing, we didn't trust the CDC anymore. It's really a crisis in the country, and it's based on trust. And that's why we can't allow these people to go unpunished if they're going to help destroy
need to
the
be-
trust. We need to
need
understand
to
we
be
don't have to
punished.
believe in Walter Cronkite anymore and not be skeptical. But we cannot just believe all these false accusations that are just flying around about anybody can say anything about anybody. It's just
I think
not.
the CEOs and executives need to be put in jail. I really do.
Well, there used to be, I thought, in journalism, I
Really?
wait till Mark gets on, you had to have 3 viable sources validating your point, or you couldn't put it on the air.
You have to corroborate.
Today, it's degenerated to where it doesn't matter. You don't need 3. As a matter of fact, you don't even need to consider it to be the truth. It could be a complete lie, and you're allowed to put it on the air as if it was news. And that's where our system has really, the pendulum has swung so far backwards. And the real problem I had with this whole Fox thing, I have a lot of friends in Salt Lake City where my headquarters are, and they believe everything Fox says.
I know.
I mean, everything.
Even more.
And they were
They're not
stunned.
idiots. They're not all
They were
idiots.
stunned at this judgment. Well, I said, not judgment, but the settlement. They were stunned. I said, well, what do you think of that? Because they literally get their news from Fox. When Fox says something, they believe it's true. This goes on in Utah
Right.
all the time. And so what happens is then they tell me, I don't know what I'm talking about because Fox said this. And I got my
Thank you.
news from Fox.
Nick, I wanna
And it's a complete lie.
I personally
Thank
know
you.
people
Thank you.
who are listening to Fox News. Now,
Yeah.
these people, after listening to Fox News for so long, they cannot listen to any other source of news. It doesn't matter whether it's CNN, ABC, NBC, doesn't matter. Because their ecosystem developed by
Yes.
listening to Fox News is completely different from any other source of news. So that doesn't correspond to their system of beliefs, a
Correct.
system of views, and
Right.
they're out. Essentially, they're becoming, in a way, a social people, because if they are in a company that we're discussing certain things, and their views shaped by Fox News would not allow them even to listen to something is different from
Yeah.
the Fox News narrative. Therefore,
Rick.
Fox News must go. Period.
Well, we'll see if Fox News moderates its tone at all. So far, they have not. and they talk about the settlement as little as possible. You got to see who's going to fill the time slots that they've emptied, and it remains to be seen whether Fox viewers can figure out how to move to the other, even more right-leaning channels. Because I have a theory that at least 10 million Fox viewers are older adults who are kind of losing it. Everybody, zillions of people have stories about their older parents who start watching Fox and get brainwashed. And will those people be able to, will they leave Fox? Will they be able to figure out how to get on Newsmax or OANN or any of the, or Alex Jones or any of the more extreme channels?
Alex Jones has his own channel.
Well, he's got his own show, the
Well,
$1
why would
billion
anyone listen?
settlement.
Well, it's the
Rick,
same
why
as
would-
Steve
why would-
Bannon. Bannon had a big
Why would
following too.
anyone-
And
why
now
would
he's in jail.
anyone listen? Okay, wait, time out. Why would anyone listen to a guy like Alex Jones?
I
Give
don't
me one
know.
good reason.
But people
He-
still
echo
do.
chamber-
Still
He should have zero
Yeah.
viewers. He's horrible.
He's
he's
horrible, absolutely.
He's
But
a horrible person. He's just a horrible. He's not that good. I won't listen to him.
But he still makes millions of dollars a year with his show.
it's the echo chamber. I think Sasha put his finger on it. It's these people don't tune in. They don't listen to anything else. They only want confirmation bias. So they have their bias and they want someone to confirm it for them. And they will wade through many channels to find the one that does.
Yeah.
Well, you'll get glad to know the Supreme Court is at it
That's
again.
right.
They've got another case today as well, not just the one I mentioned
Oh,
about
Lord.
the education, but apparently they've also announced Monday that they're going to consider whether the First Amendment prohibits a public official from blocking constituents from personal social media accounts when those accounts are used to communicate with the public. So I guess they're going to be able to block the constituents because it says the court took 2 cases for the term that begins in October to decide a digital age issue that has been active in lower courts. So 2 years ago, the justice dismissed a similar challenge to President Donald Trump's efforts to block critics on Twitter after the former president lost re-election and his Twitter account was suspended. So they're going to be going into it, and we've got our fine folks over in the Supreme Court that are going to be looking at that case as well. And like I said,
There's Mark multitasking, staying informed as he participates in the program. That's a little bit different.
How do we know that Mark is telling the truth? And he's
Yeah.
hey, well, the ACLU sued Maryland Governor Hogan for deleting comments and blocking Facebook users. So that's just one of the quotes.
The thing is, you can't block them from posting, but you can block them from posting on your page.
Right.
So I don't see any problem with blocking them from posting on their page.
page.
But that's one of the Wild West laws that hasn't been figured out, and we have to figure it out in court, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, social media has unbelievable power today.
Yeah.
If you think about it, the Facebook, TikTok controversy, a lot of the TikTok controversy, I think, is Facebook trying to push Reels ahead of TikTok. And the way to do it is to get rid of TikTok. It has nothing to do with China taking your information. That's a pretext. It's really just they want, because Facebook takes your information. Facebook determines what I've been banned on Facebook on one of my people with no reason whatsoever. They just go, I'm taking your account down. They took my account down. Seriously.
Yeah. And you're not the only one, Nick.
And I'm not the only one. Yeah, I found other people got taken down by Facebook too. So Facebook operates as a law unto themselves when it comes to distributing.
Nick, they start.
And they have a competitor called TikTok. So their goal is to get rid of TikTok. Wait a minute. If you're going to get rid of TikTok, you need to get rid of Facebook too. Am I
From
missing
day
something?
one, when
They're
everyone
collecting
was
information.
going, "Oh, it's a Chinese company." Doesn't matter.
Baloney.
All of this is owned by
Baloney.
China too.
Hey,
So,
listen, it's a San Francisco
a bunch of
company. Could
idiots in
easily
this country.
Take the data
Bunch of
and send it
idiots.
to China. There's
No, but we
there's
also have
absolutely no reason.
But aren't
anybody
all
here
the
should
FANG
trust
countries
Facebook.
American owned, and isn't that part of the problem?
Can we
Because, I remember
get
there was
some
this-
vaccines
Did-
for idiots in this country?
No, because the expression for FANG is Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. And I think those are all American companies. So they would probably be upset at any foreign company, whether that's TikTok or any other one, but they are all the American-based companies. Am I not right about that?
Well, if you want to rile up the American people, just blame it on the Chinese right now.
Right,
Yeah.
but let me tell you
Yeah.
something about
I think
Facebook, Google, all of those other companies that claim
Ang, what do we call 'em? Yeah.
it's made. All of their computers that they use are made in China.
China.
So come on, people. Let's get real. You know, they Chinese own them because they own TikTok. Just saying.
Yeah. The real reason they want to get rid of TikTok is a major competitor of Facebook. Okay.
Right.
The pretext
Exactly.
is China. So if you want to get rid of a competitor, blame China. It's real simple. Okay.
Well,
So the thing is,
I
I
know
think
this
Fox,
made
I
this
think
good
Fox
great
is controlled by
competition.
China. Hey,
One of the things that
Sasha,
made
you want to
this
get rid of
great,
Fox?
Nick, was
Tell them it's
competition.
owned by Chinese interests.
Yeah, I definitely think China's the scare tactic, the boogeyman of it for everything now. But I believe in competition, and most of America was based on the idea of competition. And when you have anybody that controls the lion's share of anything, then you're no longer allowing competition. And anybody who tries to compete with you, you can squash. And we have had a history of this. Teddy Roosevelt, over a century ago, ran on crushing trust. Busting trust is what his campaign slogan was, which is breaking up monopolies.
Mhm.
And the idea is still relevant today when we have these companies that are so powerful that you cannot compete with them, because when you do, they crush you. And this is what's going on in a nutshell. And the thing is, the Chinese companies can hold their own more than most people.
That's right. Yeah, they don't get crushed by the American competition, which, as you know, that Facebook and Apple are in bed together. Facebook pays Apple 8 to 12 billion a year, so that when you go on your little phone, you'll notice you'll have a Facebook icon up here. That is a $12 billion payment, 8 to 12 billion, from what I understand, information and belief of Facebook to Apple.
That's
so the real problem.
One Goliath is washing the hands of the other Goliath.
Well, the problem is those San Francisco guys are all in bed together. Facebook,
well, that's true. That's been true historically, and it's not San Francisco that's the problem there.
Yeah, but if you think about it, there's too much power concentrated in San Francisco, as I told my friends in Raleigh-Durham. Let's look at where Google's headquartered, San Francisco. Where's Facebook headquartered? San Francisco. Where's Intel headquartered? San Francisco.
Maybe you're talking about Silicon Valley in general.
Silicon Valley in general.
Now
let's go to Raleigh-Durham, the purported research triangle. Duke, North Carolina State, North Carolina. Our big company is, it's in Cary. What is it? It's some Epic Games. SAS is a private company, and they're not near as big as the companies I just mentioned. So if you go to
bigger.
Amazon, Seattle, Microsoft, Seattle. So if you think about it, the West Coast has way too much concentration of power. I think what we need to do is break them up and force them to move outside of San Francisco and move their headquarters to the great state of North Carolina.
North Carolina, yeah, I saw that. No, the East Coast bias is a well-known thing. The power is always reside on the East Coast. And now
I'll be in your great city in a couple of
weeks. Nick, we tried that tactic. Nick, we tried that tactic and it didn't work all that well because we were actually doing quite well in media, in a certain form of media. I think we were either number 3rd or 4th behind California, and in New York. Texas and us would go back and forth in the lovely and the fine industry of the film industry. And we were doing quite well in the film industry. And then some of our fine folks in government decided that movie makers coming from around the country did not need the tax credits and did not need the aid that they get and everything. So, of course, they then have migrated to Louisiana, Georgia, South Carolina, even, and they have even migrated to the fine country of Canada.
Hey, Mark, North Carolina can brag all they want. You can brag all you want about North Carolina, Mark, but here's the reality. There's only one thing we outproduce people on: sweet potatoes. That's it. Okay, and it's true. We produce more sweet potatoes than any other place. in the
You can
country.
really say, I am what I am.
I am what I am. I'm
But you know, along those same lines, I have a
No,
friend
no,
of
no,
mine
no,
that
no,
I have a friend of mine that actually takes kind of a opposition to one of our favorite slogans here in North Carolina, and it's something that we were talking about on the other show. But we claim to be the city of medicine. But you know, my brother just actually finished having a kneecap surgery, and it went well and all in that space. But that being said, there are a lot of folks that can't afford the great medications that we have. We got some pharmaceutical companies that are doing all kinds of maybe good things, but not so great things as well. So that being said, and there are a lot of folks in North Carolina, including in the city of medicine, they probably can't even get the medical aid.
Another what's wrong with this country topic. I mean,
also
also a country that has terrible medical care that's most expensive in the world.
That's what we were discussing on Economics Monday about the United States. We spend 2.3 trillion more in medical costs than we should be spending. We waste
No, it's on
20% of our
insurance,
GDP.
Nick. We spend
What?
all our money on insurance. Other countries
25
actually have
okay,
a real
numbers look-
healthcare system that you pay the healthcare system.
The
We pay
insurance is another
insurance.
monopoly system
The
gone wrong.
That's
insurance
right.
industry-
Thank
Hey,
you.
hey, Kim, the insurance industry only
Thank you,
rates 25% of your healthcare dollar. Only 25%. Okay, but that is a big. If you can go to Sasha and say, "Look, Sasha, I'm going to sell you a stock, and I get a 25% commission." What would you do, Sasha? Would you buy my
I
stock?
would call the police.
Call the police, right? Okay, right.
Please call the
right.
police. I don't blame him on that.
Seriously, if you were to sell a stock and you want a 25% commission, Sasha would run out the door.
There you go.
Healthcare is a 25. It's a 25. Listen, it's a 25% commission. So when you go to your healthcare provider, 25% of that will go to the insurance company to quote pay for administration costs. So what I'm telling Sasha, I'm going to sell my stock. I got a 25% commission. The reason you have to pay the 25% is for my administration costs. Sasha, now would you buy it? No, but that's the American healthcare
Well,
system.
maybe.
That's hey,
Nick,
I'm
when you
serious.
give to a
That's the
charity, the
American
first
healthcare
question you
system.
should ask is, what are their administrative costs? And if they're
Hey,
above a
but
certain
It's
I
level,
gotta-
25%.
Hey, I got another
Jim,
question for
it's
y'all.
25%.
Yeah,
The
it's
whole,
outrageous.
the whole United States,
Tim,
you're ripping off the whole country. Now let's
but
go to
speaking
the
of ripping
hearings.
off the country,
Let's
Jim,
go to the hearings on Congress. You don't hear anything. Do you know why? Because
They
they're
own
all
them.
paid off by the health insurance industry, the insurance
no, that's
industry.
no
And
doubt
I
in
used
it.
to be on the committees that did that. We
Well, the
wrote checks
NRA.
for all these
Go ahead,
things.
Rick.
You want to talk about
Yeah.
stuffing ballots, buddy? There it is, right there. That's how
There you
you
go. There
stuff the
goes a couple
electoral
of
system.
No,
Is you
no
buy
doubt.
them
But
out.
hey, Rick, I got a quick question for.
If Fox becomes less effective
The
at
electoral
selling,
system bought.
you know, the Republican Party line, we may finally see some movement on issues where, you know, like, you know, background checks for guns, healthcare, where it's been blocked by both parties in a lot of cases, but more by the Republicans. We might see some movement.
I want to clear something up about this gun stuff because I've been buying guns.
Another what's
and,
wrong with this country topic.
and they had us register with the sheriff's office, and it was a whole lot easier for me and quicker for me to get a gun when I registered with the sheriff's office in that section. And now if I want to go buy a gun, I have to go to the store. I have to give them all of my information, and they'll tell me, come back in a day or two and you can get your gun. Previously, I did all my registering with the sheriff. He would give me a card. I would go give it to the people selling the gun. Now, somebody could have mugged me. And I have to give it to them, and they sold me a gun right then and there. Done. You know, I had to register the license number on there with mine, and that was it. So there is background checks done. They do them. The problem is our accountability. We do not make people accountable for misuse of guns, for illegally selling guns. You know, they sell more guns illegally than they probably do in the store. just like the recent incident with the teens at the birthday party, right?
Mhm.
How did they get those guns? Now they're ghost guns, right? So
Right.
honestly, though, there are they do a lot of background checks. I just want to get rid of that issue. People think they don't, and they do. So we have a good gun control system. We have no accountability
And we
system.
know enforcement. It's also
No
true.
And you don't have the insurance industry involved. So we really need to have the insurance
Okay, Nick,
industry
what do you-
At a
insure
25%
Sure.
premium.
with 25%.
I've asked this
load.
question.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
asked
insurance
this
companies can destroy
question.
anything. Yeah.
What are you going to insure on a gun when you buy it?
You insure any damage that
The
would be created by
Insurance
the
for
gun, or
because
the gun, the
they're-
gun
And
owner.
hold
Right.
the gun
If
manufacturers
somebody steals
responsible.
my gun, does my insurance
Yeah.
cover that death? That's
You know,
stupid.
yeah.
Now
Yeah,
you've
the
got rid of
insurance
the
company has to
accountability of the people who are misusing the gun. Stop
That's
it.
right. But that's
Stop
the
putting
insurance
all of
industry
the
in general.
responsibility on innocent people. Stop.
That-
Stop.
that- but how do you take care of innocent people without insurance?
Accountability. When
But
someone
the
gets murdered,
person who
trace where
shot
that gun
isn't
is, and
totally
you-
the person
and
who shot the
trace where
person
the
is
gun
totally
from.
unaccountable.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so-
right. And
so
and
you
we got to
need
do
some
something to
accountability.
prevent the shootings, like the people that come into schools and shoot up the children and the teachers.
And people who are released on
But hold on a second. But
Well,
speaking,
who pays for the cleanup of
put a
that?
tracker on it
Hold on a
so
second.
they
Speaking
can't
of
go buy a gun.
Speaking
I've
of
lost track.
accountability, though, and I was actually going to get to another media part of the story as well. But speaking of accountability, one thing that's happening is that we're getting ready to head into summer. It might be one of the hottest summers. It might not, but if it's a hot summer,
It will be.
it'll be hot in a lot of different
It
ways.
will be.
Because, we're already seeing people. There have been at least 2 incidences in the last week where somebody, went up to the wrong car, and now they're no longer here because they got
Yeah,
shot because they
Someone
went up
got
to the,
shot. It is
Right.
That's
going
America
far
for
in
you.
the dark. Yeah.
Hey, look, it's safer in Spain. 0.42% out of 100,000 murders by gun. United States 4.92%.
Where
Right.
isn't it safer, Nick? Where isn't
Right.
it?
safer in
The
Spain.
gentleman who was released
safer
on
in
parole in New
Morocco.
It's
York,
safer everywhere.
It's safer. The United States, well,
He
is-
went
is
straight to-
dangerous. The only thing that's
maybe not
worse
right
than
Japan
us
right now,
is
but
Right.
Latin America. Latin Americans and
they
Central America.
lowered his bail.
oh, Kim, I'm
America
so
is
sorry, but
stupid.
Kim, you're
It's
You're
coming
breaking
in
up, Kim.
safer in-
So what about the manufacturers?
All right, I got to.
60 years ago, you had no AR-15 type rifles in private hands. Now you have 20 million of them in
Yeah.
America.
it's a
And
crisis.
and they're sold in a way that, if you look at the worst advertising, and I'm really not up to date on the advertising, but the advertising of 5 years ago really kind of encouraged a certain amount of mayhem. This is your ball. These are your testicles right here in your hand.
Yeah, look at the political ads. People are got guns and they're shooting things, and yeah,
So
you're
I
absolutely
mean,
right, Rick. And the AR-15s, that's a military grade weapon. You don't need it for home protection. And the idea that you can go and acquire something like that, and there's no consequences for doing it, that's crazy. And so America's gun crazy. There's no question about it.
gun crazy.
The guns is,
Well, they're definitely gun crazy, but we're also social media crazy. So I've got another one for you.
Oh, go
Nick, and
ahead.
everything.
Another one.
I got another one for you because you're gonna love this one because I know how much you love academic studies and all of that. Yes, I'm being highly sarcastic when I say this, but there is a university. I'm not sure where it's at. I'm guessing overseas, but the Charles Darwin University, in collaboration with the Paderborn University in Germany, are exploring. Are you ready for this, Nick? How social media, and in particular Twitter, can be used to understand how people feel about heat waves and how they respond. So they're going to do a study on tweets to find out how folks are thinking about heat waves and heat warning and heat stroke and all in that space. Because it said it examined, this is just too many tweets to be examined. It examined 62,920 tweets made between January and April of 2022 when there were above average temperatures in Asia, South America, the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean, and Australia. The tweets were searched based on a series of keywords, including heat wave, heat warning, and heat stroke.
So I'm going to find out whether or not I'm comfortable by looking at my phone.
I think the Charles Darwin Award should be awarded to that university. I mean, what are you supposed to say? And speaking of media concentration, I forgot to mention Twitter is also headquartered, or used to be, in San Francisco.
Well, Elon
Yes.
Musk.
There's been all sorts of craziness
Oh,
happening with Twitter over the past few days. A few
Really?
days
Hey,
ago,
hold on a second, Nick, back up. But see, I remember the news show today dealt with climate, so maybe we can use this as a leverage tool, because it says the study, one of the few to investigate social media use during extreme heat, found 66% of tweets discuss climate-related extreme heat and heat waves. So topics of discussions including health impacts at 20% and extreme weather and climate change at 17%.
Well, I'm curious what Rick was saying about Twitter.
all right,
Yeah,
so
Twitter.
Twitter, along with Facebook and other I guess Instagram. Anyway, Twitter has a verified program that for people with a certain degree of fame could get verified to
Right, the
Not-
verification.
that these tweets came from that actual person, as to stop other people from pretending to be them.
Right.
When Musk took over, he decided to get rid of that program. And instead, you can buy the verification for $8 a month.
Mhm.
It has nothing to do with whether you are who you say you are. It's just that you're paying Musk $8 a month.
Yeah.
And so everybody kind of, people were like, well, this is ridiculous. That's not providing any kind of service at all, and it will lead to fraud and misinformation. And then
That's worse than 25% of your premium.
Musk gave back the check marks to anybody with more than 1 million followers.
Well, Twitter was the ultimate horrible deal of this decade. I mean, Elon Musk way overpaid for it, $44 billion, and they have what they call unverifiable views. Now, I could have told them about the unverifiable views, because Vimeo gives us a report every day how many views we have on our network and the year. The year was 2.2 million. That sounds really good, 2.2 million. But if you said how many are bots and verifiable, they don't tell you anything. In other words, so I'm sitting there going, I can show data numbers, but in terms of how many bots actually watched it, I don't know. And Elon Musk, when he bought Twitter, was buying views, but Twitter may not have those views. A lot of unverifiable. And 44 billion. He's got what is it, 8 billion a year or something like that in interest payments. So he was forced to cut all the staff and get to bare bone staff just to pay
Anyone
the
who's
interest
doing
on the
any
debt.
work, right?
What?
Anyone who's doing any work got cut.
Yeah, right. Well, the thing is, he way overpaid for it. I mean, so Twitter, the real question about Twitter, and I'd love to see their report. Maybe Sasha will invest in it. I don't know. But see
they're
whether or not
non-profit company. Who is interested in them?
it's a private company.
he
so you
doesn't
won't
care.
see it.
Company.
Okay,
Can't buy it.
but even if it's a private company, I'd love to see the auditor's report to see if it's considered a going concern right
Hey,
now.
speaking of-
Because remember,
speaking of
Bed
companies-
Bath and Beyond went bankrupt and is
I
going
saw
to-
that they were going bankrupt.
that is big. Okay,
First,
so
breaking news just came in.
What?
Don Lemon is leaving CNN. So now I think that Fox News will hire Don Lemon and CNN will hire Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson. Hey,
No,
hey,
Sasha, you've got it all wrong. You've got it all wrong. What's going to happen is Pod TV is going to hire Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, we're going to hire both of them. We'll make them an offer they can't refuse, Sasha. You
Tucker
know,
was
say,
getting
Chad,
you
30
know some of
million a
those
year.
people in Russia. You know some of those people in Russia. They can go visit Don Lemon. Hey, Don, I got an offer you can't refuse. Or you can visit Tucker Carlson. This is an offer you can't turn down.
Marlon
on
Brando
TV.
to go talk.
Yes, it's good. And speaking of
What do you mean you can't
How
turn
you
down
gonna get
this
them to
offer
walk
on
away?
TV?
Tell them they have to tell
Come
the
with me.
truth.
Hey, it's real simple, Sasha. You tell them, say this: "Come with me if you want to live." There we go, and send some Russians at Tucker Carlson. It'll be on Pod TV. That's
We'll
what
tell
Well,
them they
Pod
have
TV.
to tell the truth. They will never come.
They'll never come with that whole truth
That's true.
aspect. Hey,
Yeah, that's
I've got a
that's
question for Rick and Jim, just because there's niche markets as well. I might have mentioned this before there, but there are two major folks, and it's not Oprah, but there is a network of the Black Entertainment Television that used to exist and was bought, and then it's on the market again. And there are two folks that are looking at buying it, and they have different aspects. One is the great filmmaker, and I'm being sarcastic because I don't like all of his film, but Tyler Perry is looking at buying it, but so is Byron Allen. And Byron Allen apparently owns the Weather Channel in addition. So which one do you think should get it, and why should they get it? I'm just curious, since y'all are California-based folks, which one should buy BET and who should get it, or should they form some sort of partnership?
Well, I'm going to go with Tovi's answer. He said Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry, like, you know, as a white person, I haven't seen that much Tyler Perry stuff.
Zero for me.
No, I've seen some, but if you read about Tyler Perry, he is frickin' saintly. He is a great entrepreneur, and he has made this, you know, his studio in Atlanta?
Atlanta, right.
Yeah, and this is he built this huge industry, and, you know, he's smart, he's talented, and yeah, so's Byron Allen, but Tyler Perry is kind of a captain of industry.
Wow.
And also like a supporter of people.
Great endorsement.
Well, maybe he'll make Atlanta great again. So he'll buy the BET television and move it to
can't
Atlanta.
use that tagline.
I have to
Make Atlanta great
Rick
again.
on that.
Well,
He is
it's not going to make
highly,
North Carolina great again.
He's highly respected.
After Atlanta.
Tyler Perry. He's also highly
he is very highly respected globally.
Yeah.
You can't find anyone to say anything really bad about him. Like, nobody really has anything negative to say about Tyler. He has worked very hard to keep his credibility up. He does. To me, I haven't seen all of his stuff, but my kids watched everything.
Yeah.
And he does some funny. He's funny. He's just legitimately funny and good. And I think there's something good to be said about Tyler. He's got my vote. So
it'll be moved to Atlanta, Georgia. And
Yeah, I
so
know.
the thing is, Atlanta is a great place for the BET.
Well, it's
No.
closer to North Carolina.
And it's closer to
North Carolina
Well,
has
help
very
you
bad
guys.
laws for media. Very, very bad laws for businesses.
California, that's all.
We suck.
What? Yeah.
I hope Elaine's listening. We suck when it comes to media support in this state. We do
have
not
none.
support
What do you mean
them.
we suck? There's no media support in North Carolina.
Right. There is none. You don't get there. There is no support in North Carolina.
There's no support at all in North
But
Carolina.
you know, we had
That's
something
why
that
we
I didn't
don't
even
really do
know.
movies
But hold on a
here.
second. North Carolina had something I didn't know we had, and I learned about it
We
recently
have it.
because a friend of Steve's is actually going to be inducted into it. But apparently, we have a North Carolina Media and Journalism Hall of Fame. I did not know we had a Hall of Fame, but David Crabtree is going
It's
to be
hosted by
inducted.
Fox.
But David Crabtree is going to be inducted into that. Matter of fact, yeah, he's going to be inducted. It was announced about
Sasha,
3 days
Wow,
ago.
David's been around a long
The
time.
lack of socialism in North Carolina. They want
We have one more thing in North Carolina, and Kim and Mark, you cannot answer this. It's only to Sasha, Rick, and Jim because they're not in North Carolina. Have any of you guys been to a pig picking?
No.
Sasha, Rick, or Jim, a pig picking? Okay, none of you, right?
No, hold on a
I'll
second.
ask them.
Hold on a second.
I'll
Before
ask
they answer
them.
that question, I've got a follow-up
Mark,
question to that.
have
Do
either
you
of
know
you
what
been
do
to
you know what
a-
chitlins are?
Oh, yes.
I know chitlins.
Sure.
Okay. Hey, Mark and Kim, have you been to a pig picking?
I've hosted them. Yep.
Mark, have you been to a pig
She's
She's
picking?
not only been, she's hosted them.
Mark's
Does
not gonna
this
answer that.
involve
Mark, have
cooking
you
a
been to
pig
pig
and then picking it
Mark.
apart?
Yeah. So
don't
we
even know
would
what it
hunt
is.
them actually. We would hunt wild boar
Right.
and put them on the grill or smoker. You know, we have a big, grill that goes behind a truck. Yep. And you put it on there. It's not a spigot that goes around and around. You could do that.
Yeah.
This is faster.
Speaking
And
about
you
pigs,
just literally, after you pick on it all day long. Yep.
Yep.
just came up in the news.
We got early breaking news.
These people, this from Wagner Group, headed by Prigozhin, they're inmates and there are all kind of people there.
Yeah.
So some of them started to come back home. So one immediately killed his wife in front of his 2 children.
Yeah.
But that's nothing. Another one killed his friend. So he took his body and he gave it to his pigs to eat because they love it. So some wonderful stories are happening. This something inspired me because you were talking about pigs. So here's a
But they were doing that in Deadwood.
modern pig story.
I guess that'll be on the Russia-Ukraine-China show, I guess, Ukraine-Russia-China show, about feeding people's friends to their pigs.
Okay, they were doing that in Bill Hickok's day. That's old news.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
we
what
were
it was
talking
good.
about climate change and many other hot topics. Sometimes you
Hot
think
topics.
about, so you need something to feed your pigs with, and some people find the unorthodox ways of doing it.
I don't know if
Okay.
anyone's seen the series Yellow Jackets. Oh my goodness.
No, but I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to make a prediction.
I'm going to take a wild guess here and everything, and I hope I'm wrong because I love Sasha gives great analogies and everything. But I'm thinking that pigs being served to people, which is a form of cannibalism, this might be something that we actually get flagged on future editions of the network. So we're gonna have to see what Facebook and YouTube say, since they're loving to tag us for everything that we talk about. But we just
By
brought
the
it up.
way, Nick, I know you're a big fan of St. Petersburg, and it's a great city.
Yeah, it's a great city. Yeah,
What's interesting is that during the war, Second World War, there were a lot of cases of cannibalism in St. Petersburg. It's well known fact. But there was no law in Soviet Union against cannibalism. So the only people who were actually punished and took severe many years in jail, those people who were selling meat as a result of cannibalism.
Making a profit.
They were worse because what they were doing is actually they were profiting from cannibalism. Those people were punished. But the cannibalism itself, there were no laws against it.
Yeah,
that is absolutely good to know. That'll make my week. I'm sure, Sasha, that knowing that people were selling human remains to other people in Leningrad.
And making a profit off of it was the problem.
What?
Making a profit off of it was the real thing.
But making a profit on it is a problem. And with that, we're going to have to go because we're at the hour. But just realize that everybody can enjoy Fox News and the self-cannibalism that they're doing right now. And it looks like Tucker Carlson has left. So sad to see that, because I was going to give him kudos. I thought that he was the only guy that came clean. Now you know what happens when you come clean in media. Out the door you go. With that, we'll see you next week on the media show.
Tell the truth.
Thank you. Bye-bye.